All right. Welcome to Problem Solver Politics. I am your host, Cardon Ellis. We are live in the KHTS studio with a great program today. I am here with my co-host,
Mark Murphy, maintaining civility in the political conversation, I hope.
And we are blessed to be, we are lucky to be graced with the presence. There we are. I was messing up my idioms there. With a comedian par excellence, none other than Jess Weber, famous for real fake news.
That's right.
Yeah, this guy actually goes dressed up to leftist rallies as a Fox News anchor just to raise havoc and ask people some hilarious questions and videotape all of the insanity that ensues. Or he goes to conservative rallies dressed as a CNN or an MSNBC or an NBC anchor, doing everything from smoking joints on camera. I can't believe that one. Or just plain old butchering politics in favor of the other guy just to get the dude on camera angry. I mean, this is really, really funny spoof news that is actually pretty hilarious. So, Jess, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right.
This sounds like real news. He sounds like a real newsman. He doesn't sound like a spoof. There's no way. He's dressed in a suit. He looks like a professional.
I got to play the part all the time.
Okay, so before we get started and we ask you all about your comedy, we do have to tell the story of how we met. I was bamboozled, just as everybody else was, when me and Cody went down to the Andrew Yang rally in Los Angeles. We've been following on our daily podcast Andrew Yang quite extensively, doing analysis of all of his different programs and the different policy proposals that he has. And I got to tell you, the Yang gang is an excitable bunch. So we decided we're going to go down to his rally and see what's going on. And I noticed there's this Fox News guy with lights set up, a full camera, and I walk up and I say, wow, this guy has no bodyguards at a totally leftist rally in Pershing Square, downtown LA. This dude has stones of steel and a spine made out of nothing but metal, right? So I walk up to him and I say, man, dude, you're on enemy turf here just by yourself. Wow, you're a big guy, you know. And after finally, 15 minutes of talking, he finally breaks it to me and he says, dude, I'm a fake. And the best part was by that time we had both gotten press passes.
That's right. That's how it works.
To go and interview. I cannot believe it. See, and at least me and him are real, and Problem Solver Politics is just not as well known as fake as Fox News. Yet here you are with a Fox News mic flag, and apparently that is all you need.
It's pretty easy. I mean, I noticed when I used to go around with my old mic flag, just like my Weber's Way logo, it was a little tough to interview people because they were like, who are you with? Who's this? You know, so I'm like, all right, that's it. I'm going to go CNN, Fox, so these people will talk to me. So that's what I started doing, and it's sure enough, you know, it's too easy. Like when I met you, you came up to me like we knew each other. I didn't know. I thought you were like, oh yeah, you know, you guys hobnob, whatever. Because I had. Was it CBS was there or ABC was there? They came up to me like, "Hey, buddy, what's going on?" You know, like I'm in the crowd. You know, like
just talking shop amongst mainstream media personalities, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh yeah. So we're talking about how Trump, he might win. You know, whatever. And we're best buds. And then you came over, and then we started talking, and then I got those passes for you, and then I even got passes for my other buddy, because this lady, she loved me. She couldn't wait to get me to interview Andrew Yang or whatever. And it worked out pretty good.
Okay, so I mean, you are living the dream, I guess, of any kind of political comedian, because like Jon Stewart could never pull this off. He's too well known of a face.
Right.
Yet you're not well known of a face yet, but you completely look the role. I mean, you look like you are a good-looking, handsome, articulate mainstream media anchor just trying to get the story about what's going on around town.
He looks just like, though, the guys that come on and do the interviewing for the Jon Stewarts. Guys like Stephen Colbert and Steve Carell that eventually went on and became well known. But they've got a whole host of guys, men and women, but you look just like them.
So what got you into this? I mean, this. By the way, when we go on our breaks, for those of you that can't watch on Facebook Live, you got to check out Weber's Way TV. It's hilarious. He spells it WEBERZ Way TV. And, I mean, you've been in front of Maxine Waters' house during a protest there. You've been to the Andrew Yang rallies. You were recently with the crazy guy that had the InfoWars T-shirt on at the Andrew Yang rally. Brandon. When he got in a fight with Antifa. I mean, you are booked, man. This is like a full-time job.
It's starting to get busy. I knew that's why I mainly wanted Trump to win, because I knew there was just comedy gold for the next 4 years. So if he gets elected another 4 years, we're in business.
So it had nothing to do with saving our economy from communism.
Well, it was all
just content, right?
Trump was common sense to me.
He's a true Republican. I love this. It's comedy gold.
Yeah, it was, and he and plus Trump, he's common sense.
So what was the birth? What was the birth of Weber's Way TV faking? Because there was a radio personality I loved throughout the 90s. My dad would listen to all the time, named Phil Henry, who would call himself on his radio show and would talk through a filter, and he would have outlandish conversations with himself, faking he was a caller, and just get people so riled that they would call in furious. And then it would be a three-way conversation where two of the characters were him. And if you were not in on the gig, you were just thinking this was the most heinous conversation you've ever heard in your life. But if you were in on the gig, it was absolute pure radio gold. And I see what you're doing now on YouTube, spoofing Fox News and NBC and CNN. I see that as like a modern Phil Henry, and it is just pure gold seeing what you're pulling off. How did you? I'm surprised. A, nobody's done this before because it seems so simple. Yeah. And B, what got you into this?
Well, I used to work at a network where we would claim videos on the internet. So if your video was in a compilation and it was getting millions of views, we would put a claim on it. So I would make fake news bits because I knew that real news bits, it would mix in with those compilations. So I would put a claim in it and I would get a percentage of that money. So my first one was me talking to, I was on camera, I stop rolling, and then I pretend I'm on the phone, and it's still recording, and I'm yelling at my wife, telling her, where the peanut butter is in the cupboard, this is all live, and I'm like, oh no, we're still on camera here. Yeah. And that got onto several different websites. And
for what? Just proving that white men are bigoted, women haters, or what?
Just a blooper, like they thought it was real from NBC, and sure enough, it just got on that website. And then once it gets on a certain website, people think it's legit, and then that's how they go viral.
Oh my gosh, this is hilarious. So you started making money by backdooring spoofs purposefully onto legitimate sites.
Yeah. Because my job was also promotion, so I knew exactly what websites to put them on for other people that are looking for real content, for like Huffington Post, BuzzFeed, whatever. They're looking for certain content. They'll find it, they'll take it because they think it's legit, whatever. Or I would submit it to these websites because I was from a network, so they knew it was legit material, and I would send it off like that, and then they would say, okay, this is legit because it's coming from a network. I know I shouldn't be doing that, but this is highly illegal. Yeah. But that's where fake news comes from.
Yeah, okay.
This is like, how people think it's real news because it was on Huffington Post or something, because that's where it is, but it's, some guy like me seeding it into there or whatever. Like, I used to work at another company where NBC was looking for footage, viral videos of, I don't know, anything, fake or real videos. I made a video of me with a shotgun. I shot a shotgun up in the air, and it was all fake, whatever. And I submitted it to NBC, acting like it was one of our clients or whatever. Sure enough, they flew me to New York, and I had a whole interview at NBC, and that was one of them. It's nonstop, all my videos have been on like Ridiculousness, True TV, different Japanese shows. So
wow.
So there's big money in viral videos and,
Oh, my goodness gracious. So those of you that can't see because it's on radio, check us out on Facebook Live. My jaw is to the floor right now because I'm looking at this and I'm actually thinking, wow, this is really funny that this could happen. But I also see how it could be abused, and I recognize it's actually the new formula to try and dox people and try and ruin people's life. We actually did a segment on our daily podcast, our Problem Solver Politics podcast on our YouTube channel, about how the left's new formula now to try and silence conservative voices is they specifically just try and get enough outlets to write a one-time questionable article about, is this guy racist? Is this guy a neo-Nazi? Is this guy a white supremacist? Mm-hmm. And if they can just get 3 or 4 of them published, then all of a sudden major news outlets when they want to introduce him or analyze him as a speaker, will say, oh, well, this guy, an alt-right leader of, a white supremacist group. And it's all just seeded, purposefully seeded fake news.
It was learned from the textbook published by the conservatives, put out in the about 10 to 20 years ago, as we watched the Koch brothers funnel this in and build this up. And they put these guys at places like George Mason University and other places to write these wonderful think tank pieces and push the marketing pieces. And it was quite amazing. Look what they accomplished on climate change. So you don't have to have facts. You just have to have good marketing or fun content. It's about time that the Republicans finally figured out the playbook of the Democrats.
Yeah, Mark, the guy that thinks the Koch brothers have managed to make academia liberal. Academia conservative, right?
Have you not looked behind you? Okay, so anyway.
Okay, cool. So then what have you been doing lately? It's been like 2 weeks since we saw you down at the rally, but there's already like 15 new videos up on your channel, and they're all hilarious. So what have you been up to lately?
Yesterday was naming the new street Rodeo to Obama Boulevard. And
Rodeo Drive?
Rodeo Drive?
Well, they called it Rodeo.
Rodeo. They called it Rodeo.
There's in Crenshaw.
Oh, in Crenshaw. Okay, cool. I thought it was like
yeah. I call
Eric Garcetti will touch Crenshaw, but he ain't gonna touch Rodeo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was calling it Rodeo. I didn't know. But
no, I think that one is Rodeo.
Yeah,
and
it is
then
Rodeo.
The one in Beverly Hills is Rodeo. Okay, so keep going.
It's the same street.
Is it?
Neighborhood, man. It's neighborhood.
Same spelling.
Okay.
So I went there, and you had to get media passes to get in. And I was walking around by the line interviewing people. I saw the security guard. He's like, oh, you're with media? I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm sure. And he's like, oh, come this way. You don't have to go through the line. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I got in that way. Didn't have to go to the media and get any passes or anything. So that was pretty easy. And sure enough, I walked around, started interviewing some people, and then they just kept coming. They just kept lining up. Oh, interview me, interview me. They all wanted to be on the news. Every Fox, NBC, CBC, or CBS came up. Those same reporters came up to me like, "Oh, hey, you're with CNN." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm just getting content for them, and if they use it, whatever." I know the lingo with these guys.
Okay.
Well, like, you do know that you could get a media pass, and you can set up where we are. I'm like, I'm all right. I'm good. I don't want to mess with them at all.
Yeah.
So I interviewed a few people there. I kept telling, I would ask them, what do you guys think about having an ICE department on Obama Boulevard in the honor of Obama? And they're like, oh, that sounds really great. I'm like, oh, so there must be an immigration problem here in Crenshaw. Like, oh yeah, this is great. Thank God, Obama's gonna clean this up. So they were in favor of it, and I'm like, well, because Obama's the number one, deporter, right?
Yeah.
And, so.
Not known to the general
public.
Well,
they say he's the number one deporter, but all he did was change the definition of deportation. So if they stop you at the border and turn you away, that counts as a deportation. So it's a little bit of a false
Trump
stat.
insists on putting them in jail or separating their kids and putting the kids in jail. That's much more
fun. So
either
way, you're talking to all these African Americans, and they're saying,
"Oh yeah,
clean up the streets," and by clean it up, you maybe get rid of the illegals.
Yeah.
Brutal.
This is great.
But
and
and
about Obama still in office too. I mean, they actually think he's going to do this, right?
Well, no, I just because they're having the street named after him. I said they're building a new building in the honor of him. But hopefully Trump beats his numbers. But let's be real, right? So then also I would tell him, so what do you think about Donald Trump's face being on Mount Rushmore? And that's when they got really mad, I had one guy saw, if the people voted for it, I guess I'm okay with it. I'm like, okay, and some guy, so this one liberal guy, he was asking, and also when I talk to these people, I'm also saying they'll say, no, that's a horrible idea. And I'm like, oh, so it's a really good idea. You love it. You must really love it.
Yeah. Okay. You purposely lampoon them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he finally, he caught on. And he kept following me around the whole entire place towards the end. And I was like, oh, I couldn't get any more content. So I'm like, all right, just so you know, you can just stand here. My supervisor's coming right now, okay? So you can just hang out here. I'll have him come right here. And I just walked away, pretend I got some B-roll, shooting the trees or the sign or whatever. And I had to get out of there.
Oh, my gosh.
But at the end,
okay,
when I was about to walk out, the
Yeah.
media people come up to me. They say, "Do you need a media pass?" I'm like, "You know what? I don't." She's like, "Here you go." I'm like, I look at the guy and he walks away as soon as he saw all that.
Oh, that is epic.
Because he just kept following me around. He was one of those guys holding his phone right to his chest, trying to record me. I'm like, whatever, dude, get out of here. He's like, oh, he's fake news. I'm like, oh, they're only saying that because I have CNN logo. so this guy, so Fox, NBC, they're like, oh yeah, I see what you're saying.
News
Yeah.
guys.
So they defend you. They're defending.
Oh,
you.
they defended me. Like,
Well, I was thinking you're under the ultimate guise because the second somebody says he's fake news, it's completely misread, especially by anybody in the media profession. They're going to start saying, "Oh no, come with us. We're real. This is hilarious."
yeah, so it was perfect. So
Trump had your back.
Trump had my back. Yes, of course.
Oh my gosh, this is too. Tell us more. I mean,
All right,
don't
so
stop.
there's another one. I interviewed this one guy. His English was really broken, so I know it was perfect. So I'm like, so are you, like, what do you think about Obama? He's like, oh, he's really good. He did the, reform on immigration. I'm like, okay. I'm like, so are you here? Are you here legally or illegally? He's
Well,
like,
it's crazy. They think he actually did something on immigration. It's like
I don't know what he did.
nobody touched it. Yeah, okay.
So he's like, I'm illegal. I'm like, oh, okay. So your parents hopped the fence, and then they had you, or they were carrying you over the fence or something. He's like, yeah, and he agreed. So I don't think he understood what I was saying. That's why it's gold.
Okay.
So he basically admitted that his parents jumped over the fence, had him. He's an illegal, and he's a DACA, whatever.
Okay.
And and I make after he walks out, I'm like, oh, he probably stole my identification. It's.
And then you just said that so people around you would just get pissed and like get all angry and call you racist or what?
Whatever. But he walked away and he was fine. So that was just yesterday. So that was good.
So he hasn't been picked up by ICE yet.
No.
Okay.
Well, of course nobody's gonna do that based upon some YouTube video. What do you mean? So anyway, this is I just got. Have you ever gotten caught or in trouble for this? Have you ever gotten busted?
No,
I mean,
I can talk my way out of it. I mean, I know the lingo of like, I'm based out of, Ohio or whatever, or New York. They're just sending me around to just collect B-roll footage, and if they use it, whatever. That's the new thing now. They're like, oh wow, they're doing that. I'm like, yeah, sure.
This is okay. This is me just still looking dupified. That nobody's tried this before.
Well, but they have. You watch the correspondents on the Daily Show or on the Tonight Show.
Yeah, but it's a Daily Show.
But they're doing it, but they don't.
But
always tell you.
they're not spoofing a mainstream media.
Oh, but they don't always tell you who they are, and sometimes, like when they're trying to get into the various conventions, they try and fake their way or push.
Yeah,
their
but
way
then
in.
their microphones don't have CNN or Fox News on it. They always have something generalized like, oh, Channel 1
Well,
or
CBS can't afford to be sued. Neither can Comedy Central. So he's got the latitude to do what they want to do, but they've given
that's
him,
what I'm saying. His situation is unique because he's straight up saying,
It's
I am
perfect.
the hated Fox News.
I'm
Right.
the real fake
You
news.
know, like-
well, and Fox does all this crazy stuff they do, so there's no way you could really sound foolish.
Right. Well, that's why I stick with Fox going into mega.
For all my Fox listeners out there, I'd like you to know.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that's interesting about this, I mean, we got to go to a break soon, and I've got so many more questions for you, and I'm sure our listeners are absolutely loving this. Please check into our Facebook live chat. Any questions you got for Jess Weber, we're going to ask him. But I was amazed that have you ever showed up and there's been another real Fox News guy there?
Yes, that was at the Andrew Yang rally.
Oh, because I didn't see him. Oh, there was another Fox News guy there.
And I got a story on that as well. That's
Oh, okay. Hold on.
Have you ever pretended to be Van Jones?
no.
Okay.
Oh,
Go
okay.
for it. Who's
Hold
going
on.
to know?
I got to know how this goes. All right, we're going to take a short commercial break here, guys. Stay tuned. We are here with Jess Weber from Weberway TV. This is Problem Solver Politics. Back in a minute.
choose your dry cleaner for convenience. Maybe it's time to choose a dry cleaner that is not only convenient but does quality work at a reasonable price. Town Cleaners. They're in the center of our valley and they offer free pickup and delivery anywhere in Santa Clarita. Town Cleaners, a dry cleaner who goes the extra step. Their stringent quality control ensures the highest quality cleaning and pressing for your garments. Town Cleaners on Soledad and Rainbow Glen.
How did you become addicted? A friend? Were you at a party and someone said, "Hey, try this"? Then you got the cold sweats and started shaking. And the more you did it, the more it didn't work. So you switched to the needle. Now you're a train wreck. Drinking, drugging, broke. Your family hates you. And you hate you. Get out of your hell on earth now. Call the Detox and Treatment Helpline today for immediate help. In many cases, your insurance may cover the costs. We can't guarantee it, but we can guarantee we have what you need to change your life for the better. Pick up your cell phone and call right now. 800-694-1135. 800-694-1135. 800-694-1135. That number again, 800-694-1135.
At Jersey Mike's, we make a sub above. Bread baked fresh, veggies served crisp, meat and cheese sliced on the spot. Then comes the juice. Red wine vinegar and olive oil blended to perfection. It's what makes a Jersey Mike's sub a sub to behold. And beholding? Well, we think that works best with two hands. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Your Santa Clarita Jersey Mike's, a proud sponsor of Santa Clarita Sports.
Finding the right lawyer can be a challenge, but in Santa Clarita, there's no need to search when there's Hacker Law Group, Santa Clarita's premier litigation firm. Jeffrey Hacker has represented celebrities, financial institutions, accident victims, real estate developers, realtors, contractors, businesses, nonprofit organizations, and other individuals and companies with their legal challenges. Mr. Hacker is one of Santa Clarita's leaders, consistently listed as one of our most influential. When everything is on the line and you need legal counseling, visit hackerlawgroup.com.
Southern California Edison wants to help you and your family stay safe around electricity. Whether you're on the job or in the yard, coming into contact with a power line can hurt you. Always keep yourself and any tools or objects at least 10 feet away from power lines. Never approach or touch any downed wire or any person or object in contact with it. Call 911. Go to on.sce.com/stay safe for more safety tips. Stay aware, stay safe.
Your hometown station.
I love the music, and I always tune in when there's an emergency in Santa Clarita.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
All right. This is Problem Solver Politics. Welcome back. We are live in the KHTS studio. I am your host, Cardon Ellis, with
Mark Murphy, attempting to maintain civility in the political conversation. And I got to tell you, I love it because what we're exploring now, we're showing the reality behind this whole fake news.
Yeah, we are live in the studio with Jess Weber, the king of fake news, of real fake news.
It does exist for all of us Democrats out there. There really is fake news. Get with it. Yep. Accept it.
Okay, so before we left on break, you were telling the story of how basically, for those of you that are just joining us, Jess is a comedian who dresses up as an anchor, comes with a full array of cameras and lights, and dresses at conservative events as a CNN anchor, or at liberal events as a Fox News anchor, and so on and so forth, and starts recording these outlandish segments where he asks people if they like Donald Trump's face on Mount Rushmore, or if they're proud that Obama Boulevard there's going to be an ICE department built to, quote, clean up the streets, and just gets the most hilarious reactions, but he's doing it under the guise of mainstream media. So we were going to ask him, have you ever shown up to an event as like a Fox News anchor or a CNN anchor, and there's actually a real CNN anchor there, and how's that play out? Do tell.
Andrew Yang's rally, Fox was there, local Fox. He comes up to me, and he's like, oh, so they brought you out here too? I'm like, yeah, they want me at all these events, and he's like, oh, okay, cool. So we got to interview Andrew Yang, and in the beginning, he's like, do you mind if you hold my microphone and ask a couple questions for the local news? So I'm like, oh, okay, you just want local questions, right? I'm going over what we're going to talk about. He's like, yeah, just do that, and sure, we'll go on, in like 10 minutes. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm going on prime time now. And I'm like, what do I want to do? Do I want to pull a prank, or do I just want to do regular questions about how Yang's going to clean up LA or whatever? But
so you had a real anchor for real Fox News.
Oh yeah, we were buddies.
This
All
is
day.
epic. Okay, keep going.
So he hands me his mic. He's like, all right, we're gonna go in a little bit, and then he's like, how long are you gonna be? I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be like 10-15 minutes with him. He's like, oh, okay. Then all of a sudden he took off, grabbed his mic, went to the other side, and started filming. And he had the NBC guy hold his microphone. So I lost that. It was pretty close, but that would have been funny.
Okay, so for those of you that are just tuning in, I mean, you have got to check out the podcast once we archive this. This man is a genius. He has been in front of Maxine Waters' house. He's been down at all these different rallies, just getting the most hilarious content. Exactly how many venues have you snuck into? Like, how far have you actually taken this? What would you say is the biggest? I mean, con men say the biggest take or the biggest con. What's the biggest event? Yeah, what's the biggest wedding you've crashed? What's the biggest event you got into?
Biggest event? I mean, they're all pretty easy to get in. I mean, the only thing that
well, you said you made it into the Grammys. Is that the
biggest?
That's
right, Grammys. That was. I mean, all right. I made some passes, put my face on it.
You just made media passes?
Yeah. Well, I looked up old passes, what the old Grammy passes look like. So I made that in Photoshop, put my face on it, and then put it like one of those things where you scan a barcode kind of thing. I don't know what they're called.
QR code. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you scan it, my picture will show up, and it'll say media reporter, whatever. I had it on my website, so they would just, if they scan it, they're not going to scan it. So I made it look really legit, like 2000. I don't know what year it was, 16 or 15.
Jeez, yeah, okay.
So the cops are like, oh, you can't go this by. I'm like, oh, we got passes. We're supposed to do media in the back for the celebrities to come out. You're like, all right, go ahead, or whatever. So we got in the back way, and celebrities are coming out, and we're just, sticking the mic. But that was pretty crazy.
Oh, my
I stand out when the Kings won the Stanley Cup.
Uh-huh.
I was out front telling everybody that the Kings are guilty of steroids and telling all the fans. I'm like, are you guys upset? And they're like, what? No way. I don't think so. Yeah, right. Not in L.A. I'm like, they're guilty. This guy, I wish New York would have won. I would tell them that New York should have won. And
my goodness.
They would get nuts. Oh, yeah.
Has anybody ever gotten violent with you?
No. I mean, the guy yesterday, it was the closest violence I've ever thought he was. Because I got close to him because I pretended I couldn't hear him. So I got closer to him, and he's like, get away from me, And I'm like, all right, okay, whatever. He's like, don't touch me. Don't touch me. How those
those guys. Okay, so do we have any clips here, Cody?
That one might have.
Do you have any clips that were pretty confident? Well, we listened to the one.
Did you listen to it first?
No, the one about you're interviewing the kids that say we're bragging about Coachella herpes.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic.
Oh, my gosh. Do we have the one about? I mean, we're gonna
perspective. The way you set that one up is beautiful.
I mean, this is genius. We're gonna screen this here for 2 seconds before we throw it up there. But basically, you sat on a street corner. Where was this street corner?
This was Maine, and it was the Huntington Peach Pier. I was just at the Trump rally, and just. These people weren't part of the Trump rally at all. They were just walking by, checking things out. And they looked at me like, oh, we want to be on TV. Because a lot of people do that. They all just want to jump on TV, say they're, whatever. So I'm like, all right, here we go. You guys all have herpes, right? Let's talk about it. We're doing a segment on herpes. You guys want to be on the show, right? Don't waste my time. We're trying to let's get this segment in.
And this is on camera and radio.
Yeah.
And you just come up with it on the spot, or do you?
That was all right on, because I knew I needed some bits like that.
These young people have just admitted to their parents that they and their partners that they have herpes.
Yeah, the one girl was like, "I got it at Coachella."
Yeah, they play along. A lot of people play along because they don't want to. I don't know if they're nervous because I know how if you know, I'll go to the max where I put makeup on, I'll put foundation on. So you know how when you ever interview with a real news reporter, you know how heavy makeup they have on them and the lights, camera, everything's for show, just to trick the mind and say, wow, this guy's legit.
Yeah.
So
I did notice that you had a lot of foundation on.
Yeah.
And you had legit caked on lights, camera, action makeup when I saw you, and I hadn't really thought about it, but I did notice it. So I'm sure that triggered something subconscious. So I would think that, oh, this guy's the real deal.
He must be real. I don't know. That's what I would think of.
And he does look legitimate like a news anchor. I mean, this guy passes for the real thing. So it's easy.
Yeah, it's pretty easy, really.
Okay, so you snuck into the Grammys.
Yeah.
We're going to show the herpes clip down to the Huntington Pier. You've snuck into multiple rallies. What's your next big goal? Like, do you have an event that you're trying to specifically go after and spoof, or are you just kind of taking it as it's coming and you're like, okay, I'm just going to get whatever falls in my lap?
Whatever rally comes up, I definitely want to get an interview with Trump for sure. That's probably one of my main goals. I'm hoping he comes to L.A. If he doesn't, I'll go wherever he is and try to get an interview with him.
You will be a Fox News person when you do that. That's the only way you're going to get it.
Well, they'll think I am, and I just looked online. You can just get a media pass for like $100, so I might just do that, or just look at it and just make one myself because they show you what it looks like. So
okay, so now I got to ask you a question here. We're going to turn this a little bit to a current event question. Okay. You've obviously proven your worth as a hilarious comedian and a media personality. And this is why my phrase that, we used to, that I constantly repeat on the show, that we used to listen to politicians and laugh at comedians, but now we listen to comedians and laugh at politicians is totally true. Very true. Because what you're doing is laying bare the absolute insanity of how much trust we put into a news media that's an absolute unabashed joke. I mean, literally, you guys need to Google right now these 3 college employees and 1 professor who spoofed 7 academic studies that made it into legit academic journals that were total hogwash. One guy took the first chapter of Mein Kampf by Adolf Hitler and rewrote it, replacing the word the Jews with like white men, and then rewrote the Third Reich as like intersectional feminism. And they just modernized a chapter of Mein Kampf, making it an intersectional feminist essay, and it got picked up by the leading journal on intergender studies. Then they went to a dog park, and they said that dogs humping each other in the dog park is evidence of college rape culture. And that got picked up in the #1 social sciences journal, with nothing but fake quotes, fake references, fake bibliography, fake works cited, the whole 9 yards. And in 1 year, they got 7 or 8 of these things published in legitimate scientific journals until finally somebody caught up with the fact that, holy crap, this guy literally just modernized a chapter of Mein Kampf and called it intersectional feminism and blew the lid off what is the joke of fake science and pseudoscience and political influence in academia. And to a certain extent, I feel like Jess Weber's doing the same thing with the media. What does this say for the state of modern media and politics right now? Like, what do you think? Have you ever sat back after one of these, the conservative street artist calls them hits. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what you call your completion of one of these gigs, but have you ever sat back after one of these hits and just thought, wow, this is like total proof that we are just drowning in BS? I mean, have any thoughts ever come to your mind about the actual political implications of what you're doing?
I did a bit before the election 2016 on Hollywood Boulevard, where I told people, I'm like, listen, we know who wins the election. We're the news people, we know. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, we know Hillary Clinton wins. So we're just going to tell you who wins on air, and you just give us your natural reaction, whatever. I'm staging all this thing. This is all on camera. And that's the bit right there, is to show that I can tell anybody to go along with what I'm doing. And they play along very easily, and people believe it on TV. Because this is what really goes on in real life. These news people, say, okay, I need you guys all set up, make it look like we're all homeless, and we need some money, and here we go. Everyone cough or whatever. And, there's a lot of bits of CNN setting up stuff in other countries, making it look like they need help or whatever.
So where do we go to know what's really going on? Like in your mind, as a guy that's spoofed so much news.
Yeah.
And I'm not out here to say that all news is fake. In fact, here at KHTS, I have a large amount of respect for the news department. Most people are familiar with the political leanings of the owners of the radio station because they're prominent conservatives in town. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But the newsroom is staffed to the hilt with a bunch of leftist, poli-sci and journalism majors that still haven't gotten, all the Marxism their professors have installed in their heads out of their systems yet.
The intellectual elites who actually read books.
Yeah, the intellectual elites that read books. Yet they never push an agenda. The owners of this radio station are actually really good that they're never pushing an agenda or an edge. They want their news to be pure. And
they actually encouraged me to be on the show, which is hard to believe, given my Democratic leadership.
Well, I mean, that's true. I mean, the proof is in the pudding here. I mean, the number one political talk show around town here is staffed by a Democrat and a Republican. You know what I'm saying? And we both have equal airtime. And the leader of the news department, I have a lot of respect for it. I respect 99.9% of what Devin Miller puts out. And what's interesting is he'll never tell you what he's registered as. And he says, I never want it to get out in this town what my political thoughts are, and I never want them present, or I never want people to be able to tell from my news writing what my political ideologies are, because that is not the place for it. And I have so much respect for him.
It's probably a student of Walter Cronkite or some of the great ones.
Well, no, like honestly, I would love to get him on the show one of these times to actually talk about what are the true ethics of journalism, because then you see like what Caleb Lunetta writes over at the Signal, and it's basically just like propaganda saying Dave Barlabi's the greatest thing since sliced bread. But anyway,
did you just say the Signal is a leftist-leaning document?
No, he is. Caleb,
yeah.
It's hilarious.
The Signal is a leftist document. We need to get that word out so all Republicans start subscribing, and the paper will fold. Okay.
No, so anyway, what I forgot what I was going to ask him, but I do have a question. Is what I'm curious here? Do you ever feel like there's a line that you've ever crossed? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or okay, what is that?
No, I mean, keep going. I mean,
He's a comedian.
I feel bad. I do feel bad a lot of the times because I don't tell them after they walk away. So that's the.
Well, you can't tell them else it ruins the gig.
Right. I mean, sometimes like I did a Ebola breakout on the plains on Hollywood Boulevard, and I would ask them like, "So, where are you coming from?" She's like, "Oh, we're visiting California." I was like, "Oh, so you took you're in LAX, right?" She's like, "Oh, okay." So there was a plane infected with Ebola. It spread out through the entire airport. I didn't know if you're okay because it's and they're like, "Oh, I got to go back. I got to go back there tomorrow." I'm like, "Oh no, that's not good." So I feel bad. I didn't say like, "Yeah, it's just a joke," because they're actually leaving the next day to go.
You are going to be arrested. You know that, right?
Man. Okay, we got to cut the last 7 seconds of this broadcast. No, I'm just kidding. So then, I'm curious. What do you think? What do you think of the media today? Because what's interesting is I have so much respect for what like Devin says, about I never want people to be able to tell what my ideologies are. Yet, in my lifetime, I've seen the media change from being something we could cite in bibliographies. I mean, I remember my 6th grade teacher, Mrs. Pace at Santa Clarita Elementary, bless her soul, when she was teaching us what bibliographies were and the difference between primary sources and secondary sources and reliable sources and unreliable sources. I remember her literally saying, "What are some good primary sources, kids?" And she mentioned like, journal entries, news articles, encyclopedias, so on and so forth. And I remember her saying, if you can ever get an old news story, that's actually a really good primary source because journalists are required and held to a certain set of ethics to say what's really going on in an unbiased fashion. And in my lifetime, even back then, I was like, well, I don't know if that's true, Mrs. Pace.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
True. That's when she was just citing Wikipedia.
But like we've gone from news being something that's citable as a primary source to 6th graders at Santa Clarita Elementary to being something where it's like, the SPLC just went down in flames because they literally called everything that would make them money racist. You know what I'm saying? And it's an absolute joke. You don't know where to turn to such an extent that it's easy to now lambast and spoof the mainstream media that we totally depended on for eons, that Walter Cronkite broadcast from, the most trusted man in America now. You don't believe half the junk that CBS says.
Wait a second. I believe everything that the Tonight Show says. I mean, come on.
For journalism, my mom went to journalism school, and she was taught that if a certain situation that you're in, you need to be the person that has to be the one that thinks, okay, is this a good thing to tell the people for them to believe, even though it's not the real information? But if it's good for them, it's good for the world. So that's the kind of, that's what they grew up in back in the day. So I mean, how I look at the news right now is just a bunch of bull.
So you're hoping to expose it. You're trying to say, listen, pay attention because you're probably being fed a certain amount of stuff.
That word being woke is a real thing.
Yeah.
And especially with like Alex Jones with conspiracies and stuff like that, they're all coming true. Like there's a lot of things that come true from. I've known about a lot of these different.
Alex Jones is insane. Yeah, well, that's proven.
But there's a lot of conspiracies that he talks about from years ago are now coming true.
Yeah, and then they're no longer conspiracies if they're actually true.
Right. So
and then all of a sudden it's strange, but all of a sudden Alex Jones ends up becoming the reporter instead of the conspiracy theorist. Right. And what's even weirder is...
Oh, we're in trouble.
I noticed... No, but I know the second you talk about Alex Jones, everybody goes haywire. But the truth is, what I've noticed in my life is how I've heard multiple conversations by serious pundits on all different platforms, whether it's broadcast television or broadcast radio, talk about how TMZ has broken major stories. And now TMZ, what used to be considered the fodder of pop culture, now all of a sudden being the reliable reporter in the room, because that's how crazy our clown world has gotten.
Well, it's Comedy Central. That's where we go for all of our news.
So here, we're going to have to take another quick break. But when we get back, I'm super curious. I want to hear what you think about like how you consume your media and like how you figure out what's real and what's not, because you're the king of fake news, and a little bit more about your background. We got to take a short commercial break. We are here with Jess Weber of Weber TV. This is Problem Solver Politics. Don't go away.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is your official Santa Clarita Dodger station. You can catch all evening games right here on your hometown station. For all the latest news and updates on your Los Angeles Dodgers, KHTS has you covered. Go to hometownstation.com.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
There are times when nothing else will do because you know exactly what you want. You want the Alamo, the taste of true Mexican cooking at its best. At Alamo, you're treated to a taste that is truly Mexican with an atmosphere to match. Enjoy a Cadillac margarita, try a mucho burrito, or sizzling fajitas. Voted the best Mexican food in the SCV and a favorite of former supervisor Mike Antonovich. Alamo Rotisserie in Granary Square, serving Santa Clarita for over 30 years.
Tacos! The Tequila and Taco Music Festival is coming to Santa Clarita, May 10th and 11th at beautiful Central Park. Friday, it's all about margaritas.
I love margaritas.
Tacos and great entertainment from our 90s throwback stage, starring Vanilla Ice. Saturday, sample top shelf tequila and chow down on street tacos.
I've been waiting for this for so long.
Enjoy live entertainment with a tribute to Bruno Mars. Space is limited. Purchase your tickets now at tequilaandtacomusicfestival.com. That's tequilaandtacomusicfestival.com.
Kids 12 and under are free.
It's all happening at beautiful Central Park in Santa Clarita, Friday, May 10th and Saturday, May 11th. Tequila and Taco is sponsored by Jen Giamanco Foundation. Visit santaclarita.com. Golden Road and Michelob Ultra.
Tequila and Taco Festival is a CBF production.
Once heart attack symptoms begin, delaying treatment increases the risk of heart damage, disability, and even death. Time is critical. Leading the Valley with the most advanced digital technology and treatment times that beat national best practice goals, Providence offers emergency coronary angioplasty and stenting performed by highly trained board-certified cardiologists. For more information, call 1-888-HEALING. The road to healing leads to Providence.
Your hometown station.
I rely on Aaron in the afternoon to get me home from my job in Canyon Country.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
All right, welcome back to Problem Solver Politics. I am your host. You are live in the KHTS studio right now with Mark Murphy and Jess Weber of Weber TV, the king of real fake news. This guy actually shows up dressed as a Fox News anchor at liberal events or dressed up as a CNN anchor at conservative events and drives everybody wild, asking them hilarious questions such as, how do you feel about Donald Trump's face on Mount Rushmore, or what do you think about an ICE station being built on the corner of Crenshaw Boulevard and Rodeo, or Obama Boulevard down in Crenshaw? It's pretty hilarious. So, Jess, I got to know. You recently, okay, we'll talk about this cloud event where you said you were Dr. Cloudy for the climate change event. But before you go anywhere, what's your background to give you the guts to do this? I mean, a man does not all of a sudden dress up as a news anchor with all of this paraphernalia, all these lights, all of this camera system that looks legit, and not have guts and experience. Where'd you get your guts from? Where'd you get your experience from?
Well, I'm from New York. I studied acting, improv for about a good 10 years in New York.
Okay.
Finally made the move out to LA to pursue the whole Hollywood dream. Obviously that failed because I got really sick. So I got so being sick, I couldn't really do as much. So I ended up getting a desk job and, watched the whole YouTube movement go on and, involved myself with all that. But besides all that, I did stand-up classes out here in LA.
So tell me about your experience in stand-up. Not many guys can do that. That takes a lot of guts.
Yeah, stand-up is great, but it's horrifying. When you...
The first honest stand-up response.
Hey, I did stand-up, and there's a reason why they say it's the most difficult form of comedy. Because insane. It's a man, a plan, and a microphone. That's it. And if it fails, it's on you. If it succeeds, it's because of you. It's all or nothing, baby.
That takes total courage.
I went to the Improv open mic night, right?
Okay.
Busy place, right? They call your name if you get, when you put your name in the hat. And every single joke before me was all about hating on white people. White guys, white this, white privilege. I'm like, oh no. So they call my name, and they're like, Jess Weber. I'm like, oh no, I don't know if I'm gonna do it. And the guy's like, oh, don't bail out, Jess. I'm like, oh, I'm right here. I'm just getting a drink. Didn't hear you. Whatever. Here we go. And I just threw myself in the situation, and I started telling them about a joke about my doctor. I have a gay doctor. And I was telling them about how he was inspecting me or whatever, and it took too long, and no one thought it was funny. It was pretty bad.
Okay.
And then and then I went on to different jokes, and it's just horrifying. I bombed pretty bad.
Okay, you bombed. All right.
And and I bombed at a lot of other open mics, so it's pretty terrifying.
So once you've hit rock bottom, it's easy to come back and do fake news.
Yeah.
So on a radio program, you're like, I basically failed as a stand-up comedian, so now I do YouTube, right? Oh, that's brutal, man.
No,
but it's funny and it's true because we all start out failing at something. Okay.
I mean, I'll get back to it when I'm ready again, but not right now. I think this is much easier. I mean, I go out, find easy talent. I don't have to cast anybody anymore. I used to have a big studio where I would do my other channel. I had another channel called Freaking Original where we would hire these actors to do a skit.
Okay.
And we're like, all right, we want to do a photo. We want to do a photo with everybody or whatever. And she's like, they're okay. And then we had this guy in a green screen outfit, right? And we're on a green screen, and the models are posing, and the green screen guy is holding a reflector, and she's like, okay, we're like, oh yeah, we just want to put a nice little glow on you. And the green screen guy, he's got a fake boner underneath grease, holding it real close. Oh, no. And the model's reactions were priceless, but that's what we would do. I mean, who cares? We didn't really care about the skit. Yeah, we made a video out of it, but basically they came there to get pranked. They didn't know it. We did it for a while, and then YouTube demonetized the entire channel, so it's useless now. I mean, that video got like 10 million views, so I mean, it did pretty well.
Holy smoke! All right, so then you got into politics. Rough.
Yeah.
By the way, please don't write me letters. I had no idea who was going to reference that green screen model. But I'm just kidding. So, all right, then. Oh, sorry. Continue. I interrupted you.
No. 2015 was probably when I was my sickest. I was hitting rock bottom. Sat on the couch all the time for like the next 2 years, watching Trump's, glory to victory there. And I studied everything about politics, what was going on. Trump was he was just speaking my mind the whole entire time,
Okay, yeah.
And sure enough, I just figured, I'll just get back at it, go to these different rallies, and just see what's going on,
And you said earlier, Trump is comedy gold.
He is. He's comedy gold. Yeah, and I hope he gets elected another 4 years because we need
Yeah.
more comedy. But his policies are great too. But I also
It does create lots of good humor.
I did, yeah. I did a lot of. I used to go down to Hollywood Boulevard a lot with my friend Sarah, and she would pretend she was, a drunk reporter, and I would come in there and like, "What are you doing? This is horrible, unprofessional." And then we had a fake cop come in, arrest her right in front of the other person.
Oh my goodness!
So that one did pretty well, and I have Coke all over my nose, but it's flour, and I'm like talking to the reporter saying like, "What are you doing? How can you have your shirt open like this?" And she's like, "What's on your nose?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm eating a powdered donut, Oh, and I'm pretending I'm talking to Anderson Cooper in my earpiece,
Oh, well, I got to tell you, I mean, Cody can attest to this. That's what sold us on him before. You saw him talking the earpiece, right?
When we were back there, I saw you doing just like the fake the hit back with the people. Like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, we're going there. And some girl was just standing there, just like she has no idea what's going on.
Just mesmerized, and those teenage girls wanted to talk to you because you literally faked her on the earpiece, saying, "Oh yeah, okay, so get a question from the crowd about." Oh, okay, yeah. Well, there might be some crowd people here that want to talk to me. It was the most hilarious
I'm like,
thing.
all right, guys. I'm like, just so you guys know, we're going live in 5 seconds, so you guys got to be ready. So they're all getting really nervous. I can sense it. I'm like, all right, here we go. I can hear them. Okay, we're going live. Here we go. All right, so you guys, we're doing a segment on herpes, and you guys all have herpes. That's great. How'd you cure it? What are you guys doing? And sure enough, some of these people play along. Or
this one guy said he'd bathed his face in acid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not.
Okay, so you go to this climate change convention.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah,
as Chuck Beaver, I noticed that was one of your aliases.
Dr. Cloudy.
Dr. Cloudy.
Oh no, Dr. Cloudy. Yeah. Okay. Do you have any other really great, hilarious aliases you usually choose?
I did Mark Acosta. I said I was Jim Acosta's cousin or nephew or whatever. So they bought that. Chuck Beaver, Mike Pecker.
Jockstrapper.
Jockstrapper was a good one.
Jockstrapper.
Like Jake Tapper. I don't know. It was
and people buy it. They believe you.
Yeah. It's real easy. You'll sometimes you'll get a little look like, did he just say Chuck Beaver? And I'm like, oh yeah. And then I'll say, my brother Harry. He's he loves this stuff. And my mother Maya. She's And then I'll go Maya.
Oh, okay. This is too good. Okay.
But climate change. Dr. Cloudy. I came in there as a doctor, told everyone I was a doctor doing a thing for sci-fi, and I basically told them like climate change. Come on, you really it's not real, is it? These rallies are like 15 people. It's a real joke. And then they're like, oh, so when's this coming out? They want to see it on. I'm like, oh yeah, when the Green Deal passes, it'll come out. And they're like, oh yes, okay. I'm like, the Green Deal is not coming out at all.
Okay, but before we go here, how can they find you really fast in 10 seconds? How can people find you?
YouTube, Weber's Way, Instagram, Weber's Way Films, Twitter, Weber Jess.
And it's with one B, Weber.
Yes.
You got to check him out. He's Jess Weber. This is Problem Solver Politics. See you next week.